Hello. We're so back. It's been a minute. I went down to London recently and I wanted to talk about my favorite bookstore down there. There's a couple of really good ones, but every time I stay down there, I stay at a hostel on Tavistock, and it's really close, mostly because it's like 500 feet from the bookstore Scoob, which is just books spelled backwards. Scoob Books. This place is amazing. It's you gotta walk like downstairs to get it. It feels like you're walking into a little basement. No service down there or anything. It's a great selection. It's all, everything is kind of like they have sections, obviously, of like poetry, drama, philosophy, fiction, all that. But then they have these fun like bins and new arrivals of shelves or tables that are just totally eclectic. And they have old pamphlets and just these kind of literary, I guess, novelties that are really fun to look through too. I think I found a really old Sylvia Plath and Ted Hughes. It was like this big. It was for a university class that was like an explication of a couple of their poems. That was a few years ago, but this time I went down there. I figured I would just record a little shout out to them because they're so sweet. They've taken a couple of my books when I was traveling and I could only really carry one book at a time. I would finish it and I would just take it to Scoob and give it to them. And they were always gracious enough to take it off my hands. And they rip a 20% off student discount, which is also amazing because, it's hard to come by some money as a student, and their books are so great. So I just wanted to go over a few of the things that I got. I'm really happy with the selection. I got really lucky. I found all three of these actually not in like their sections, I guess. So I didn't go to the poetry section for them or the fiction section or anything like that. These were just from either the random bookshelves or the tables or bins. And the first one is Craig Raine's The Electrification of the Soviet Union. This is a first edition, first Faber edition. I love, it's kind of hard to tell, but I love these copies. Damn, the lighting is so bad. Yeah, I love these. Oh, sorry about that too. Jesus Christ, what a mess this one is. But they're the Faber and Faber ones, so all of these, it's like silver, the double silver Fs and the red text and then all the illustration is in. God damn. Oh, maybe there we go. The illustration is in red too. It's a first edition, which is really cool. This is it's like a very poetic stage opera, pretty hybrid work based on he adapted Boris Pasternak's, who's a very famous Russian poet, incredible writer, his autobiography that he adapted for the stage. And it's really interesting. I've never actually read it before, but you can see maybe it's told in these really interesting passages where there's like stage directions, and then all of the dialogue, and it's very intense. It feels like a director's cut version, so you know what to do with every scene. So it's easier to imagine than reading a play, say, that doesn't have very direct, it just has the dialogue, so you have to kind of imagine the stage direction or the lighting or whatever. This has everything in it, which is really cool because you get to have a little mini version of the opera or the play going on in your head. And first editions are always very cool. Very happy with this find. The second one is really, really cool vintage copy of Albert Camus' The Outsider. I wish I had better lighting because all of these have these like dust jackets on them because they're old and so they're kind of reflecting the lighting. But The Outsider, probably obviously better known as The Stranger, but in early printings it was called The Outsider. This one I think is from the 70s, Um, yeah, I think it's from the 70s, but it's really, I mean, it's really, really pretty. I like it a lot. It's, I think, a third reprinting of this translation, but it's one of those books that you just want to put on one of those little, one of those little book stands and just hold it up, and so you can look at it all the time. I think it's so cool, and I also I own a copy of The Stranger, obvious, the one that's titled The Stranger, and then I own a copy of The Stranger in a mass market paperback, but in French. And this is my first copy of actually owning The Outsider, which is cool. I like The Stranger as a title better because it's called L'étranger in French, so I don't know why it would be translated as The Outsider and not The Stranger, but it is kind of a fun novelty to own. So shout out Scoob for that also. And then this one I'm also really excited about. So whenever I travel, I obviously bring a couple of books. Maybe not obviously, but I bring a couple books with me. The train down to London is 5.5 hours, and it took almost 6.5 on the way back. So I brought a few books: a book of poetry, a book of short stories, and 2 novels. So I really covered a lot of bases. And I finished 2 of the books, and one of the books, the book of poems that I brought down with me to go on this trip, was, oh my god, I mean, what's the point of me even holding these books up? You can't even read them. But it's Anna Akhmatova, some selected poems from Penguin. I love her. She's one of the, she's also a Russian poet. This is a very Russian-themed collection. But she was part of the Assimist writers, the Silver Age, I think, also is what they're called. That group of Russian poets, and she wrote a lot about war poetry, and one of her most famous poems is a long poem called Requiem. And so, yeah, I had that on the train with me. I was reading it. When I got down, I checked into my hostel, went to Scoob, and immediately the first thing I saw was this. It is, and I obviously can't read Russian, so I didn't immediately recognize what it said, but I recognized her face instantly because she has such a distinct, she's got such a distinct semi-profile or profile, and she's just one of my favorites. So I've seen her a bunch. This is, I think, because it's in Russian, so it's really hard to say, but it's obviously a very old. Wow. Oh my god, it's got such a strong old book smell. Oh my god. But yeah, I think this is a copy of Requiem, or some excerpts of Requiem, or a biography. I have no actual idea of what the contents of this book are, but I had to get it because it's Anna Akhmatova, and it felt too cosmically perfect that I would have brought her selected poems down and not get this. Plus, it was like $4. So shout out Scoob again, because I think this is such a beautiful copy. It's hard to tell, but her image and the text up here is blue. The text here is black, and the cover is white. And the inside of the book is blue like this too. And when you take the dust jacket off, it's this beautiful portrait imprinted on this white cover with a black text. Oh my god, the black text on the spine. Really beautiful. I also really like that at the top here you can kind of see, Jesus, you can kind of see these lines that demarcate the pages. It's really cool. It's just a really pretty book. I'm really happy to own it. It's also one that I would very happily just put up on a display, because I'm a huge believer. I don't read Russian. I have no plans to learn Russian, and so I'm probably never going to read this. But it's kind of like that. I forget who said it, but it was something about, owning a bunch of books you are never going to read fills you with a sense of momentum and progress. There's always something more to learn and more to read, and it kind of inspires you. It keeps you going. It keeps you moving. Keeps you turning through books. I'm a big believer in that, and I'm also a big believer as books for pure aesthetic value. I own a couple of other foreign language books that I can't read, but that I own because I think they're beautiful, or the books are meaningful to me. So, yeah, that was the haul. Shout out Scoob Books. Shout out London. Honestly, one of my favorite cities. Anna Akhmatova in Russian. The Outsider, early printing, Albert Camus, also known as The Stranger. And Craig Raine's adaptation of Boris Pasternak's autobiography called The Electrification of the Soviet Union, a little first edition, which we love. And that was it. So if you're ever in London, check out Scoob. Totally worth it. Yeah, it was a great time. Thanks for watching.